You know, we talk about hope on the show every once in a while. There are a lot of things that are frustrating and disappointing, but there are some fighters in the world, and every once in a while, they make you a little hopeful. And it appeared that the public option was as dead as a doorknob, one going nowhere. And even though they're apparently going to do a reconciliation bill in the Senate to finish up health care, that only needs basically 50 votes, and then the vice president can break the tie in favor of it. They said, oh, no, we're still not going to include the public option in it, which was so dispiriting. But then, all of a sudden, over the hill, I heard something. And there's a letter that comes out of the Senate, encouraged by groups like Progressive Change Campaign Committee and Democracy for America. And that letter has two progressives on it, but also two senators that are not known as one of the more progressive people in the Democratic Party. Michael Bennet in Colorado, Kirsten Gillibrand in New York. Well, they're in primary fights, so that makes sense, and they start to go in that direction. But there's four people that are saying, hey, look, we want the public option, and we want Harry to include it in reconciliation. Not bad, it's a good start, but, you know, not enough, right? And then another four sign up the next day, and you're starting to get a little hopeful, and then it's 10. And then Dianne Feinstein, she comes on and signs onto the letter. A person I would not have imagined signing that letter at all, okay? And I guess I was wrong about that, and I guess the people who were fighting in that direction were right about that, okay? And then you get four more other senators that signed up over the last 2 days, then you're up to 15. And then, on the 16th day, on the 16th senator, who do I see over that hill? Chuck Schumer. Here comes Chuck Schumer to rally the cavalry. Who'd have seen that coming? Now, Schumer has made some positive remarks about the public option before, and he's a savvy politician. The reason we're excited about Schumer joining that cause is because he thinks it's politically savvy and smart to join the fight for the public option. That means he might pull a lot of Democrats who are most concerned about their own seats to, hey, you know what, this will help you, it won't hurt you in politics if you join this fight. So all of a sudden, is that blue I see? Is that hope I feel? Could the public option be making a comeback? Well, we're going to find out soon enough, but it's a hell of a start. It really is. And we owe that start to some of the top progressive fighters in the country, including Progressive Change Campaign Committee and Democracy for America and the Credo Action Group. And now joining us from the PCCC, co-founder, Adam Green. All right, Adam, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. I'm sitting here with my lead pipe. I've got my 2x4. I've got all the janky tools. We're ready for battle. We're going to do
this. God bless, man. God bless. You were more hopeful on this than I was, and you've been a bigger fighter for sure. So what I'm curious about is how. How did this happen? First, the first letter by Michael Bennet and with the four senators joining up. How did you reach out to them? How did that process work?
Well, I'd actually go a little bit further back from that. You know, the night that Scott Brown won in Massachusetts, we and Democracy for America and Credo Action all launched a petition calling for the public option to reconciliation. You know, the one silver lining there was that there would be no course forward aside from reconciliation, which only needs a simple majority vote. And then the question was, well, what good is this if not a single politician is talking about this? So we kind of looked at the playing field, and it was pretty obvious that the Senate is kind of gutless in general. And the Senate would have no incentive whatsoever to act unless somebody on the House side was even asking for it. And at that point, nobody was. So, you know, you had Shelley Pingree on the show a couple weeks ago, and she and Jared Polis from Connecticut, Shelley's from Maine, did their own version of this letter. And through a great inside-outside relationship, you know, grassroots groups put in tens of thousands of phone calls and got 119 members of Congress in 1 week on the record calling for this. So now the ask was in, and the question was, would the Senate listen? You know, somebody was asking for it. Now, Jared Polis is from Colorado. So we were actually talking, and, you know, and I was like, hey, you know, Mike Bennett would be a perfect person for this. And I don't know Mike Bennett, but Jared Polis knows him really well. So he called Mike Bennett, told him about what a great experience it had been for him, because never in his wildest imagination did he expect to have 119 signers on his letter. And he got a ton of local press coverage, a lot of positive praise back home. And Bennett decided to do it, and he rounded up some other senators, and that's kind of how this all got started.
All right. Now, so Bennett signs on, and I can understand his motivation a little bit. And my guess is that this probably helps in, honestly, in collecting money, too, for their races and collecting support locally. But because in this rare case, they're doing what the voters asked for, so they get rewarded for that. So that makes sense. How did Feinstein come onto this? I was amazed by that. That's when I first felt like, hey, this might be real.
Yeah, well, again, this has been one big domino effect. So again, the House is necessary to get the Senate. Bennett being on was necessary to get people like Berkeley and Sherrod Brown for that first round. Gillibrand, like Bennett, is in a primary, so she had an incentive to do things that were appealing to folks like us. And then, with those very credible actors stepping out first, all these other people started coming on. Immediately you had a chairman, Patrick Leahy, coming on. He's credible. Eventually, Sheldon Whitehouse coming on. And, at this whole time, us, Move On, Democracy for America, Credo, are putting in thousands and thousands of phone calls. Really, it's only been a little over 48 hours now. So, a lot of us have very strong memberships in California. So Dianne Feinstein's phones must have been ringing off the hook. And concurrent with that, Anthem announced that they were going to raise rates about 39% in California. Huge market for them, a lot of constituents for Feinstein, and she just had enough. That was the one thing that Sebelius has done recently that's been kind of bold, is she kind of called out Anthem and asked them for a public explanation. So Feinstein was like, all right, enough. We need competition for these guys. They can't be trusted to police themselves. So I think the insurance industry actually shot themselves in the foot on this one, and they got someone very credible like Feinstein. And after that, we've just had a whole bunch of credible people today coming out.
It's funny because we showed clips a couple of days ago from Fox Business where they had the guy, one of the guys from the insurance industry in, and the Fox anchors were yelling at him, hey, why'd you blow it, man? You were supposed to raise the rates later. You made the mistake of raising them now, giving, political fodder for people who are trying to help actual customers. How foolish of you, right? So, and that's the best case of that is California, and that brings in Feinstein, and that obviously Boxer's, running for re-election. She'd be crazy not to join in, and she's a fairly progressive anyway, so she joins in, right? And then you're getting more and more momentum. Now, tell us about Schumer and why that's so important.
Okay. Well, again, one big domino effect. So Boxer, you'd think that she would be the first one from California, right?
Right.
But for some reason, Feinstein decided to go first, and all of a sudden that prompts Boxer to come out right away and say she'll do it. Well, back in New York, we have Gillibrand on the letter from the beginning, getting some really good local press coverage, getting a ton of thank yous from activists, and basically our emails every day were like, Gillibrand is awesome, and where the heck's Chuck Schumer? So he was kind of getting nailed back home and kind of embarrassed that he wasn't out front on this. And then, again, concurrent with that, he could be running for majority leader next year if Harry Reid loses. And when we only had 4 people on board, that's not much of a block. But as this got to 16 senators, that is a huge voting block, and it's only going up by the hour, right? So he decided to get out front, I think, for a combination of local political reasons, but also knowing that this was a good stock to buy now, knowing it's going to rise. So it's probably a smart move for him.
We talk about carrots and sticks on the show all the time, and the Democrats and progressives don't use sticks nearly enough, but carrots are also important. And so if somebody does the right thing like Gillibrand, she should be rewarded for that. I mean, she's supposed to represent us, and if she does that properly, that's great. So you want to encourage that. Now, same with Schumer. And if Schumer is going to run for that spot, that's a very, very important spot. This would be a hell of a way to prove himself, that he could rally enough Democrats to get this passed. Well, that would make a great case for Schumer, right? And then everybody could point back and say, well, remember when Schumer got that done, right? So I get the incentives, all that. But then that gets us to the future, right? Is Reid going to be reluctant because now Schumer's, rallying the troops? Is there any kind of internal politics there that we have to be concerned about?
I don't think there's internal politics. I mean, I think Reid is reluctant to do anything. But, we're just going to have to get him to do it. Reid has made a couple public statements. That's not true. His spokesman has. and they were really lame. They were like, of course Harry Reid supports the public option, but in the end, it all comes down to where the votes are. And it's like, okay, that's great, but you're the majority leader, right? So why don't you come out and say, wow, there's actual enthusiasm for this. I will do a whip count, and I will find out if there's the votes, and I will know in 3 days. But he's not doing anything to lead right now. So Chuck Schumer could actually give new meaning to the word leader if he eventually decides to run. I don't think he'd run against Reid, but if Reid loses, which is very probable at this point, Schumer could be there to pick up the mantle.
Well, real quick, let's go to those, because the real votes that count for Reid are the ones in Nevada, and you guys did a poll in Nevada. And what do the people of Nevada think about a public option or not a public option?
Well, broadly speaking, there are huge margins for the public option, huge margins against the current Senate bill, huge margins for, if reconciliation goes forward, Harry Reid should put it in the bill, and huge margins for, if reconciliation is used and it's a bill that would benefit your family, would you oppose that or not? And of course they say no. So all these things that Republicans are saying about, reconciliation is corrupt and blah, 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 nobody thinks that. They just want something that benefits them, and they want the public option.
That's the thing that's amazing, because we went through this with Harry Reid already. When he made the first decision to include the public option in the bill, in the Senate version, before Rahm Emanuel and the others killed it, and combined with Joe Lieberman. And we showed him the poll numbers, and we were like, look, you're going to lose, but if you do it, people will think you're strong. And I remember I came out on the show, and I played the lion, and I said, oh, my God, turns out Harry Reid did something great, and we were ready to pat him on the back, and now he slips again, and now you got to show him the polls again. And what I found to be most interesting in the Nevada numbers, Adam, is people saying we don't like this bill. But if you add the public option to it, it totally flips on its head, and they go, now we like it.
Look,
how can he not read numbers if he's a politician?
It's so commonsensical. And if you recall, when we polled former Obama voters who voted for Scott Brown, 32% of those voters, these key swing voters, support the Senate bill. 82 support the public option. It's like these are not ambiguous numbers. All you have to do is know how to read a poll. But I want to put my finger on one thing. When I said before he said it's all about the votes, he was not talking about people's votes. He was talking about senators' votes.
Of course.
And so his problem is that he keeps playing this inside game. And, at this point, there's a lot of people who I think would actually vote for the public option if they were forced to vote. But they would love to just have this go by silently. So what we're basically doing is smoking them out and creating new incentives for them to have to speak up, mainly the fact that their phones are ringing off the hook. I don't know if you heard Jean Shaheen, who's kind of a conservative senator from New Hampshire. She is now number 18 to come out after Schumer being 17.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I didn't hear that. So you're up to 18 now.
Up to 18 now.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, I love it, Adam. Smoke them out.
So let me just let listeners know. Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead.
No, you know what? Can you just play it one more time? Play it one more time.
Okay. Smoke them out. Smoke it out. We're coming for you.
Smoke them out. And and where are we smoking them out? At a little website called whipcongress.com. WHIP Congress, named after the whip count that is done in Congress. But basically, this is a citizens' whip count, and this is where thousands of people are going, basically looking and seeing if their senator is on board yet, and if not, we give people the phone number to call. And it's a great exercise in democracy and people-powered activism.
All right, so for this specific issue, it's whipcongress.com.
Yes.
All right, whipcongress.com. Adam Green from PCCC. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yep, good to be here.
All right, great.